Well, the Pakistan People's Party is part of the country's governing coalition. Its chairman is Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, who joins us this afternoon on Sky News. Mr. Zardari, good to see you. All eyes then on Pakistan, who certainly play and become a key player as mediators in this conflict.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely. All eyes are on the visiting delegations who are set to arrive in Islamabad. Pakistan, London, New York, many countries in the Middle East, Asia, everywhere we've all been affected by this conflict. We can sort of measure the toll of this conflict not only in the loss of human lives, but the economic cost that is borne by the people in my country and in yours. So we're all hopeful that this space that has been achieved, this ceasefire that has been achieved, is now built upon towards a more lasting, more permanent peace to the benefit of the international community.
So what do you think are the biggest challenges to Pakistan in their diplomatic efforts?
I think that Pakistan's role is to play host to both these parties that will be directly negotiating here in Islamabad. I think the biggest significant sort of achievement so far is that we've reached this point. I'm sure over the course of the last month and more, there's been many efforts for both the United States and Iran to agree to a ceasefire, to terms of a ceasefire, the outlines of said terms, and to then continue to have further conversations. As far as challenges are concerned, I think there will be challenges for both sides, not least the trust deficit that exists, the wide trust deficits that exist between the two warring parties. But as with all diplomatic engagements and negotiations, I'm confident that there'll be confidence-building measures that both sides will take in order to increase the space for dialogue and diplomacy in the pursuit of peace.
Yes, because Washington and Tehran, they both have their own demands, of course. As far as Iran are concerned, that includes a comprehensive settlement with Lebanon. There is a big bridge here to be gapped.
I think that what's important to note is that not only did the Pakistani Prime Minister announce those 10 points that Iran had put forward, but also that the US presidency endorsed those 10 points as a viable basis for these talks to commence. And that's why the talks are now indeed commencing soon. You're absolutely right to say there are contested elements, or there are elements of the framework of this ceasefire that either side contests to the degree in which it's being implemented. But there are also significant parts of this ceasefire that are absolutely being implemented. The bombing in Iran has stopped. The responding attacks across the Middle East have stopped. I've heard on your channel, in fact, the complaints of the United States vis-a-vis the Strait of Hormuz, and the complaints of the Iranian side vis-a-vis what's happening in Lebanon. From our own experience, Pakistan and India also had a conflict a year ago. We also achieved a ceasefire, and it did take some time for us to implement that ceasefire in full. So I imagine that the same is the case for the Iranian-US ceasefire.
If these talks don't result in a formal treaty within the 2-week window, do you have a plan B to prevent a return to full-scale hostilities?
I think that the international community doesn't have a plan B. Our plan A needs to be achieving a peaceful resolution to this conflict and a more permanent peace. I think this conflict has, the way this conflict has played out has proven that war of this nature, war of this scale is not an option. The catastrophic consequences as far as human life and as far as the economic consequences are there for all to be seen. And it's up to us, it's up to the disputing parties, it's up to all the countries who would like to see this issue resolved peacefully, to now push all sides to agree to that peace, so that we don't get drawn in to a potentially more broader conflict than what we've even seen over the course of the last month.
And how do you respond to this chatter regarding a Nobel Peace Prize nomination for Pakistan's leadership? How do you respond to those critics who suggest that they're prioritising, I suppose, international image over the complexities of the talks?
The first I've heard of a Nobel Peace Prize for Pakistan is from you, and this criticism about focusing on image also, this is the first I'm hearing on it. Look, Iran is our neighbor. Afghanistan is our other neighbor. We witnessed 2 decades of war and 2 different sort of conflicts in Afghanistan and are still dealing with the consequences. We're in perpetual conflict with India. We absolutely do not want Iran, the conflict in Iran to be exacerbated. The people of Pakistan can't afford it. I would argue that the people all across the world can't afford it. That is in and all of Pakistan's motivation, desperation, that all sides achieve a peace. And it was a particularly hairy situation for us here economically, and the news that we're seeing internationally from everywhere, from Australia, from the Philippines, from Europe. I mean, there was incredible concern that this is going to be one of the most significant economic shocks in our lifetime as well. So as far as a peace prize is concerned, I think Pakistan and everyone would settle for us to just achieve peace.
Sure. Mr. Zardari, thank you very much indeed for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.